Hello, hello, hello. I am Dr. Brenda Jean Power. Doctor represents metaphysics. What's the nature of being? And this is the Medicine Woman Soultion Show. That's Soultion. Your soul has a solution. And part of my job is to help you understand how to connect with that. And it's up to you to start asking these questions that could give you some more empowerment. And a lot of people are like, no, I don't want to go out there. It's too scary. But it is important to ask these questions. And existential questions is relating to existence. So it's that simple. Why? The first question that you should be asking is, how did I get here? And a lot of philosophers and people throughout time, at least over 8,000 years, have asked these questions, and they are very significant in answers. But these answers is what makes civilizations. And the civilizations is what's important. Because if we want ourselves and our children and their children to keep living on, we need to become more aware of the answers. Awareness is going to be your key. Having a little trouble to why this one is not working. It's working. It's not working. No, something is interfering here. Existential questions. Some people are like, well, I don't like existential crisis. Well, that is up to you. Now, I like to teach people how to stop all of these emotional problems, this type of thinking that can create a good day into a bad day, create nocebo effects all over the place. Hello, thank you for joining. It's funny, as my phone is on, I opened up the app and it come black. I can't get the little buttons up. I am not sure what's going on here. But do I need to lose myself into getting upset in to decide, how am I going to react? That's up to me. That's my responsibility. Hello. That's my responsibility. And if I don't pay attention to how I react, then I'm just going to be a program and react, do knee jerks, take everything personal. But showing up for yourself is what's important. So I teach all of these little things about how to hold space for yourself, how to get yourself to be in that special place that you need to be in, so that you can answer those questions. Really, I'm getting nothing. This is just so bizarre how it's like I got locked out of my phone. I don't need to use a fingerprint. How about, I don't know how the face said it's not working. So now my fingerprint is not working. So what happens when your machines don't recognize you? And are we reliant and so dependent on those? Or can we do what we need to do and move about? So I ask the inner questions. People say, well, how do you move forward? How do you live? You go in. And it's like, well, if I go in, I'm going to feel, I'm going to cry. Will you? Which one of you is going to go in? So you'll have this particular soul's urge that will once you start to identify that it's a soul's urge and not a, oh, things are updating like unbelievable. Okay. You will update. My peers are, but you also will too, because you go in, and after you realize that your question is very serious, why are we here? How did we get here? And while we're here, how do we make the best of it? These three particular perennial questions have been around, like I said, for about 8,000 years, and there's a pattern out there. And I love how Dr. Bruce Lipton teaches about it. And if you've ever listened to how I teach and how I help you heal yourself, your job, you will begin to notice that it sounds like Dispenza, Braden, and Bruce Lipton, Carolyn Mace, and Wayne Dyer, and many, many more. And that's because I'm standing on the shoulders of giants before me. I'm taking that information and now I'm giving it another perspective. My soul has always asked that question, why are we here? So I want you to just spend a few minutes and just think about it. If you've been on your spiritual journey, you will be able to answer that question a certain way. And if you've been on your life's journey, human journey, then you'll answer the way that somebody else answered before you. And if I can get any of these two organized to work together, I can start sharing some information with you that could help you understand that it is an important question. How did we get here? There's actually a scale that to help us to create a collective consciousness that will allow us, hello, there, I finally got it open. Hi, Vicki. Hi, Jennifer. Amber. And the scale is spirit and matter. Now, I'm all about teaching people how to become a spiritual human so that you're 50-50, so that you bring 100% from both sides, that you are understanding that you're a spirit being having a human experience, and that you are in charge of those emotions and how to create reality. And the only way you can really have a certain reality is you need a spiritual form and a physical form to allow yourself to look through the lens, which is an electromagnetic guiding apparition, so, aka ego. But it's when we as spirit look at life through this lens and go, oh my God. And with that emotional, mental, and stress, we've worn a mask of that experience. Now we're here. We can't remember that we are love, that we have peace, we have harmony, we have joy, but we're experiencing these negative emotions, and we are meant to, how do we process? And as humans, we process only with what information we know. So start off with babies. They have to figure out how to process, soothe themselves, how to communicate and let people know, my diaper needs to be changed. I need to be fed. But they also need shelter. They need hugs. They need also to learn that they can be confident and secure if they are separated from their parents. So it's up to you, how you're going to hold that space for that child. And I learned a long time ago, if I don't hold fear, like when they fall, keep myself in check, my kids are not going to react that that's an awful thing. So I realized that it's up to me to help set the tone of how they're going to function. They're going to have their own reactions. But then when I learned that we, as souls, absorb, look, feel the emotions, we follow energy. When mom says, don't touch that thing, all you can see is this trail of energy because she's like put an energy of her own on that thing, which now glows. And you're like, all right, I want it more. And some of you, you're like, well, we don't do that. And I'll say, Have you ever been into a store and you're looking and you're not to beeline and saying this, and this? You're just kind of looking around. All of a sudden, you're like, oh, I like this. And you think it's you. Well, a lot of times you'll buy it and then take it home. And why'd I buy this? I don't need this. That's because somebody else put their desire on to this and left their energy. Now I'm stuck at TikTok. And my other pad's in the other room. And so it's up to you. It's up to you to decide, did I just react this way? How did I, how are you showing up? Not in paranoia, you keep that in check. But when you're starting to realize that people are looking at you, the self-consciousness of not conscientious, where you are, which way is right, which way is wrong, but that the people are actually looking at you. And you're starting to cognitively develop, they like it or they don't like it, or you're going to get in trouble, or you're going to get praise. And there's judgment energy that hurts like you wouldn't believe. There's shame, there's guilt that hurt really bad. And then you have this praise and love that feels really good. So you're basing it on bad and good as far as feeling, It's not that was good and that was bad. It was bad and good feelings from within you of how, the gestures, the tone of the voice, before the words even pop out. And that's fine and dandy. We've learned, how to maneuver our family, what role, what hat we had to play with in the family. And now you have to undo all the childish things that you learned when you hit about 12 to 16. And there's this growing up phase that a lot of people don't want to do because there wasn't a lot of support, because a lot of people before them didn't know how to really live life anyway. So ever since I've been very young, I was like, why am I here? That was my question. Why am I here? And it wasn't this physical form going, why am I here in this place? I've done that. It's like, why am I here? I don't even like these people. But it is this soul's urge. And a lot of people out there, that if you haven't already woke up, you're going to have this urge to wake up. And this urge, you don't realize that these are your questions. Now, if we don't like the way the world's running, we need to answer these questions better. Because if you separate, if you're just all spirit or if you're just all matter, there's going to be a problem. Because harmony can't exist, unity can't exist, and it'll be seen, your inner world will start to show on the outer world of all these rings out. So it's you can't see your own stuff. Then you'll start whoever you hang out with, maybe it's an animal, a person, whatever. And then you keep going, that person that that knows that person, so now you're going out to 6 degrees, and then you go out into how the world is run by people. It's still my inner world creates my outer world, but I'm not them. But the answers, if you're following the rules of these three, then you are in that collective moment. You following me so far? Wow, it is just stuck. I updated it. I'm going to restart. At least I can see the screen now. And that's what we can do. You take a time of, what do I need to do? Now, I ask Spirit. It is not the penis god that's thrown off the planet. It is not the one that sits in the church that condemns and judges and hates. I'm a reverend, so I love religion, but not anymore. After I kept asking the question, it led me down the road of religion. Okay, my religion is nature. I could never understand, why would you say that? And then I asked Spirit, please explain. And so I learned. I learned that there's different religions, not just the one where I lived, because I lived in Michigan. This is what our religion is. This is what it is. But it isn't that. When I began to notice that we're not the only ones, there's more people out there. There's more countries. You can learn this stuff, but it's to live it. Okay. And I would always be persuaded because I would have this self-conscious of what's the right thing to do. So I'd observe and I'd watch, and I knew that I had to have a certain amount of manners around certain people, or you could have your head lopped off. And so you learn, and it's this RTJP, this right temporal junction parietal lobe, that think what other people think. It helps you as a spirit to function as a human. Now, the question is, are you home? Now, who's the R? Who's the you? Are you home? And what is home? What does all this mean? So I began to ask these questions, and I could feel that I would be with God when I was a teenager, a little kid, a teenager. And then I said, I want nothing to do with God when my boyfriend died, because it wasn't about the fact that he died. It was that I psychically saw how he was going to die seconds before it unfolded. From 9 to like 2 a.m., 9 p.m. to like 2 a.m. I didn't know what to do with that. Why would you show me that if I can't fix it? What? And it was very much, it took me 2 years to snap out of it. I graduated high school, don't remember how, ended up in college in accounting. And I like math, but me and math don't get along because I use more of that right part of my brain. And so I see a different perspective. So every time I would try to do math, I understood what they were saying, but I also saw something else. And I transpose numbers. So it's like, why am I here? Now, I liked the functioning of how the way you put in numbers and how it would even out, how it would display in a blink of an eye of what's going on. I liked all that, but it was doing the process. Now, I went after to get God in my life because I remember that I felt whole, felt loved, felt that it answered that question. Who am I? And then, after a few years, when I kept hearing about how there was limitations and who we're supposed to like and not like, what we accept and not accept, and it was a morality thing. But that did not mean to me that that is why are we here? Who am I? And how do I make the best of it? And so I felt more peace when I would just be in the state of discernment and love without having to go to my RTJP and figure out what they're figuring out and think what they think, and then I have to outmaneuver them and overthink. That was too stressful. I began to wake up of how people play games. I want no part of it. Well, you got to play the game, because in this civilization, it's more of a scientific materialism, and it answers the question in this modern time that it is meant to be. Let's see if I can open up. It's meant to be, what to make the best of it. It is the laws of the jungle. Don't follow the Bible. It's the laws of the jungle. And it's like, what? What do you mean? And this is everybody's theories and science and all of this that ask the question, why are we here? How do we get here? And it had a lot to do with the cell and looking at the physical form. And I'm not going to teach all that here. But it was, I get it. That's what we're here for. That's what we're doing. What's funny is I sent myself the link to get to, nothing seems to be right this morning. How funny. Because I sent it. Phone's not working. It's stuck on still TikTok, even though I've redone it. Is this going to distract me to the point where I can't really allow spirit to speak through? No, we're just going to be down one show because I left my other iPad in the other room. So that's okay. We'll solve it. If anybody wants to find me, they'll find me. I updated them both before I started. It worked before I updated. Then I updated it, and then it won't start now. So we'll just let that go. So asking these questions. Now, there's a fight between what to make the best of it in this civilization. That is to do the laws of the Bible, morality. It's the laws of the jungle, survival of the fittest. And the third is that when the soul awakes, where do we come from? Well, where did we come from? Is that we are consciousness. And my soul wanted to be here. And it's like, well, okay, now, as you're here, now see, I can't even remember. Wow, there's a lot of interference with energy here. I'm just going to figure out what spirit's trying to distract me with here. And it may be a topic that people don't want to talk about, but it should just flow right through. Somebody wants me to give them attention. I don't understand it. But anyway, you ask, so if you have a scale from spirit and matter and you ask these questions, where do we come from? And around 8,000 years, the Indigenous, especially because I come from America, the Indigenous, it can be from anywhere, but what they did instead was we came from Mother, Father, Sky. And so why are you here? Well, we're here to tend the garden. Well, how do you make the best of it? To live in harmony. Then as the consciousness explored with, the expression of what is a human form, what are we doing? How are we doing it? How do we live? How do we coexist? And every aspect, every thought, every idea, every concept began to develop. And people are just perspectives and aspects of thought. So really, we were here because God thought of us, if you really wanted to think of that. The void, the consciousness, God, all contemplated and created this reality, this particular thing. And we got to the point in the involution, we got to the point where now we're transcending and it's asking these questions. So that civilization is still around, but it had been sort of like decimated by the polytheism. And they believed that we live in chaos. It just happened. And don't anger the gods. Because God was found in everything. So you're right in the middle when it came to the Indigenous. And so that means harmony, harmony, harmony. And then it started to move up that gods were many gods and that gods are found in everything. And you had a God for everything. And don't piss anybody off. Don't anger the gods because you don't know where God is, what God is. Is that rock going to be God? Oh, God. So you're on the best behavior, be nice to people. And then we had more beliefs, more philosophies, more asking them the question. And what became a part was monotheism. So we went still in spirit, not quite in matter. And we asked these questions. Now, this is where we have more data is between monotheism and scientific materialism. I'm not going to go through all of that, but you had many, many philosophers. So it started to get out of spirit down into harmony again. Yay! And then we went into more matter, and then now we are on this civilization to go back to harmony. And we've known this, the people that had the soul's urges, many people that have said, wait a minute, we're returning to love. We're returning to love. Because the soul began to ask the question, wait a minute, I've already done all this. I gotta find my way home now. Okay. So monotheism, it was, how'd you get here? Divine intervention. And then to live and play out morality. And to make the best of it is you listen to the laws of the Bible. And then things changed. Okay. Things changed. And then there was wars, and then there was this was such a juicy thing, but I'm not going to go into all that, except for you could not fight against the church. Otherwise, you'd be a heretic. And in infallible knowledge, you could not, since they knew it all. Okay, so you could never argue, never fight. And Copernicus was supposed to solve a mystery about how to know when the holidays are. And he couldn't do that based on the formula that said that the earth and everything evolved around the earth. And when he went back and he started studying how other groups, especially in the Egypt time, where they said, the sun is the center and everything revolves around that. And as soon as he took that formula, it fitted in, he could give the dates that the holidays could fall on. You had solar and lunar. Oh, they loved it, but the church loved it, but don't you tell anybody because you're a heretic and, we're going to destroy you. So he wrote a book and he released it the day he died because he left information. He couldn't do it while he was alive, but after that, it was like, no, people need to know. And that infallible knowledge. And then many theorists and, physics and all kinds of science stuff. And to become a war between science and church. And other people were like, well, how do we survive without getting killed? And then they would always like add something that had to do with the world, like genes is considered from Genesis, and of course, hey, that has to do with religion, and therefore we accept that. Central dogma, oh, that's how the genes work. Okay, that's how the DNA works. Okay, good, we'll accept that. And that was just a theory that was never proven. It was just that it was accepted by the church, and men were all in charge. And even though what was her name? Rosalind Francis, her first name's Rosalind. It was the one that understood the double helix, the DNA double helix, but because she was a woman, nobody's going to give credit to her. So Watson and Crick stole it. And then they labeled it to appease the churches. And then, in this time, it's like, oh my God, I think it was 1940 or something like that. No, 1967. Oh my God. I think it was the year I was born, something like that. Because we had, I think it was 1990, we had the AIDS epidemic. And so you have DNA and the information only flowed down. DNA to RNA to protein. And because of all the scientific new equipment and things like this, they realized that RNA went back to DNA and changed it. It's like, what? That can't happen. Well, it did. And because it did, it's like, what do we do? Well, now you have this information and it's being told, but it's still not being taught to people, some people in America, about that. A lot of things are changed here, but it didn't create a full change. So you're still in this wave, and who's going to get that information? And so to make a short story short, long story short, there's a lot of good information that I could share, but we have to stay on topic here. So it becomes the question in the scientific materialism in 1860, what is it? So when this infallible knowledge was broken, when it wasn't Copernicus because he got in trouble, I can't remember I think it was Galileo that finally proved it, but it's the way he wrote it, and the church accepted it. And it's like, well, how did we get here? Random mutation. And that's the genesis, the evolution theories. And then, you know, why are we here? Well, it is by accident for no reason. And then the third was the laws of the jungle. And so we are still fighting with the laws of the Bible, the laws of the jungle. The old way is trying to come in and say, no, this is how we're supposed to work. It's the right way of doing it. And the laws of the jungle. But you have all of this stuff. Who's controlling what? And I'm going to tell you that I know by many people, and by going through my soul's awakening, you awaken, but you awaken. You awaken in layers. Okay. Where did I come from? I came from the universe, came from the consciousness, and why are you here? To experience what life is, because we are born with the mental and emotional body, and our spirit gets to experience life. Now, these questions, these answers can be changed, but it is about the harmony. And when you begin to wake up and see the programs that are running, now a lot of people say, oh, they're controlled by aliens, whatever story you float your boat. But in the concept of awakening, there's not one way, but it is working in harmony. And when you get to that, make the best of it. We're in a healer's journey now, and that is not a hero's journey. We've been in that. We can still do it, but we forgot how to personally develop in the hero's journey. Instead, we have kept spirit out of it to some degree. So to make the best of it, heal, return to love, heal. So every day I look over and I can create a heaven on earth, or I can create a hell on earth. And every day when I wake up, if I'm going, oh God, my body hurts, I can become aware of it, but I don't have to let it own me. The moment that it owns me, I gave in my power away, accepted, believe, and gave it my willpower, that is what I start to create. So for me, I'm like, okay, thank you, Spirit. Where do I heal? What do I heal? What do I do? And I know how to move energy in the body. And it's quite simple because you just have certain points you can start rubbing. And if it's more of emotional, then I know I can use Success, or I can use EFT. I got there's tons of tools. If I feel like somebody's taking my energy, I can do cord switching. If I feel like somebody's put stuff on me, I can do treasure chesting. Or if I'm blasted out of the water, I can pick myself up off the floor healing tool. Hi, TP. And then it's like, okay, how do I start my day? I turn on the chemical peptides, the happiness. It's like, oh, there's a man I love. And oh, God, it feels good that I'm alive again. So I'm doing all of these little things to know that I'm choosing happiness. And happiness is always been there. And it is to fall in love, not just with yourself, but the world, and looking around. And when you are in a space that your inner world is creating somebody to poke fun of you, you can either fall for it, or you can go, why did I have my soul where did I oh, I must have had an experience. And it's not that you're disregarding them or that you have to fall for it and run with it. You begin to say, I can feel this. And it is a very beautiful thing to do. So if I catch my 41 thoughts per minute, did you understand that? Every minute you have about approximately 41 thoughts. But if I'm going to be stressed, I'll be in high beta, and the chances are that they'll go faster. But in the normalcy, you will have these 41 thoughts, and most of them we will not hear. And if you begin to pay attention to the story, like I'll have a song in my head. I got one now. But I will also have, and it'll be happy, or I'll have, let's say I'm in stress. Why'd they say that? Now you got to upgrade your RTJP. You got to upgrade your HPA, which is your stress mode. You got a lot of upgrading to do. And to do so, you need to become in charge of those emotional chemical peptides. It's how you process things. You don't need to pacify, manage, but you can become in charge of how it affects you. It's not about you looking at the choice. It's not about repressing. It's about, oh, my soul wants me to heal this. My soul's saying, can heal it now. You lost power about it, and you got to grow. And the tools to measure and to take and say, how do I know this, is very important. Next step is, even if you get the information, will you take that step? Now, some, we get caught up in safety blankets. That's when you just say, thank you, Spirit, show me more and show me the way, the back door that I can chip away at it. And there's so many different ways to live your life. So, where did you come from? Now, some people don't even realize that that's an existential question. So they'll say, from my mother. I came from Michigan. I've come from, but to ask, where did you actually come from? How did you just pop in? What'd you do? Why are you here? And, so that becomes the second question. Why are you here? But we're looking not just an individual, but we're looking for the collective. And if we want to change the world for unity, coming back to love and peace and harmony, it is to help begin to inside, why am I here? Where did I come from? And how do I make the best of it? And I can tell you, I love sitting in my cup of peace. I love knowing that whatever story, stress I was in, I can view it differently than being just a victim. We have to get out of victimhood, because when it came to monotheism, you became a victim. When you have scientific materialism, you became a victim. We have been in the archetype of pimp and hoe. And hoe is, take it far enough, becomes the victim. You want to understand that harmony is very important. Do you have to see an enemy? We can have tons of proof saying enemy, enemy, enemy. But if you're crying and you're coming from that mindset that the outside controls you, that is the first thing you start healing. How do you know? Now, first, it could be just pictures, because our brain only sees in pictures. And we put meaning to those pictures with feeling and then giving it description. And then we have it enough times firing wire, it becomes our program. But that's still not truly who you are. You're a spiritual being, spiritual human. You are a soul first that put on a mental and emotional body that formed into this physical form to have life. And so basically, you start with your essence, the God essence. And you are literally God in drag. Whatever characteristic, right now, it's the Brenda show. You have the Amber show, you have the April Lynn show, we have the TP show, the Ernie, the Amy's, the Robins. And it's your personal show. So the question, and I had a few years ago, I started a group, and it was, what is your movie? Right now, what is your movie? What don't you like about it? Let's rewrite it. Let's change it. And they're like, well, I can't. And I'm like, yes, you can. You got to stop believing in it. You got to stop putting emotions to it. You got to change the meaning to it. AI says, my title of my show should be Understanding 4D and 5D. Good, because we're healing out 3D. And we want the wisdom. We want to create a new world. And you don't fight against the other one. You just create a new world and the old ones become obsolete. This is what happened to those other civilizations. Because their thinking changed. Their believing changed. Their giving their willpower to it was changed direction. And there's a lot of people like me that do things the way their path is telling them. But it is this still awakening that you do not want or need to live right there. That is always in the form of chaos. It's always in the form of, see, and the thing is that chaos is that one man's normal is another man's chaos. Look at the spider and the fly. But you get to decide by your emotions showing up. That hurt. How do you know? Measure it, heal it out, change the chemical peptides. You are a biochemical suit. You change those hormones. You change the way that you identify it and notice the vector, the directions of energy. And when you change the pictures, you change the definitions, the filing cabinet, you can watch people be in a world of chaos. And as they're in that world of chaos, you don't have to be. You don't have to vibrate, match, and mirror so that you are not in charge. So that's why we teach the basics. And this is why it was important that those that came to my show, they pay, they get their readings. And if you've never had a reading before from me and you want one, I'll give you one free. But a lot of people don't want to sit here and do what? Do what? Because being here, you get to measure life as time. And that fourth dimension of adding time, instead of seeing everything just flat in only one direction, you get to see in 3D, up, down, left, right. In 4D, you added time. In 5D, you're adding your consciousness. You're becoming aware that you have the gift of awareness. Now I'm going to give you to awareness. I'm going to give you this ability to see further. To learn our own and own our crap, and understanding that accountability is that what you want your life to be? Do you want just always to be a knee-jerk reaction? Do you always want to live in pain and suffering and separation? If we do, then we're not understanding that it's meant to return to love. That means to these parts to integrate. Now, you get to where I'm at, it's not that you're isolated. It is, oh, sorry, did you want the chat now? Because I can stop and give you the chat. Do you need it right now? If so, I'll do it. I don't even remember where I'm going now, but you have to look at a different perspective. You have to, and this is why like April Lynn and Amy, they pay because they want to understand a perspective that they can't see and understand. It's up to you. So join tribe. It is something where we want you to keep who you are, have healthy boundaries. I don't expect people to become best friends. I don't even really care if you talk afterwards. Do stay quiet. You can. Okay. Um, there's but it's about learning and asking and healing, helping you change those chemical peptides so that you can get your wisdom. Let me look. She said she wants a chat, and she's paid for a chat, and I'm not sure if she wrote anything very specific because I haven't. I opened it up. I was waiting for it to pop in. Okay. Okay. Sounds like you're in stress mode. Can I say it out loud? That's what I'm curious about. Can I say it out loud? Um, I don't know if you're well, we'll find out. So she's asked something very specific. So her body is physically manifesting, and so I'm going to ask the soul the first part of the question. It's like, okay, I've been super hungry, and I said super hungry, and they're showing me that you've had invading energies into your space, and you're spiritually meant to understand them. So I said, what is the first thing? They said it has to do with a spiritual influence on you. Some people harbor extreme negative energy, and if you're not, you be pulled down. So you are feeling. So your body is saying, I feel this pull from others. You're burning up a lot more calories when it comes to this, but it's weird. The negativity I see is also feel like dehydrating. So get more water. And I said, so what else is the hunger? The hunger, feeling like you're hungry, is your stomach. I asked which meridian. It says your stomach meridian. And the reason why is because you have be around certain people and your body is now taking a different level of how to respond to them from what I can see. Now that is because your frequency, you're choosing as your soul to wake up. So your frequency is rising. Other people that have chosen to be in that reality, it's about one's better than the other. It's just that the frequencies are rising on the planet. You're rising as those frequencies to hold a different level of consciousness. And those energies that are pulling, it is like weight, WEIGHT instead of WAIT. And so the body is learning to digest differently. And if you feel stress with certain people, you're going to create a certain amount of cortisol issue. Now, they're also telling me because you're going through menopause or you went through menopause. Now, one thing you probably don't know, I learned, and I was shocked about this, is that so when the reproductive organs begin to not do their thing, your adrenals are supposed to help you produce enough estrogen. And if you have adrenal burnout, then you can have estrogen dominance, you can have all these other things. So you do feel these energies. I bet. Okay. What they're telling me is that the estrogen, have you been taking anything? Does she need to take anything? Have you been drinking like sage tea? Have you been taking crushed flax seeds and getting that in your diet to help your adrenals as your physical body is feeling all of this? Again, this is just for entertainment purposes only. Now, I said, so not only hunger, but exhausted. So I said, what meridians are causing it? The exhaustion, it's your liver. And it is this temptation of wanting to go back into your familiar of what you used to know socially. And I said, so why is it doing that? And it said, is because there's a certain lie that people keep living, but you're creating a new world. I get it. I don't know if you get it, but the body is literally saying, this is who I am, and you have spiritually been over here, so we haven't got the physical and the spiritual come together. So if I said to, how do we help her? It says to help her understand is that there's an old program in your body about feeling mortification. I said, is it a form of the punishment because you had impure thoughts, blah, blah, blah? No. Okay, so it's not on that aspect. They said just mortified that the people would act this way. So this is a judgment call. So the body is doing a judgment call. So like when you're little and you're mortified that your mother is doing this or your aunt is doing this, there's a mortified. It is how you picked up how they were mortified that people are acting differently than me. Mortified. There's a mortification. I'd say go look up a little bit more. Yes, I feel that I am at a crossroads. Go this way and stay here, etc. Okay, so yes. Okay, so what else is there? Well, the body is it the case. We're looking at the body's pattern. No, we're looking at how she needs to help her body, and that is after you watch this, you became demoralized. So let's use this word as disheartened. You know, you're just like, oh, it's either your heart's not in it or you're disheartened that you're discouraged. And that's also old and familiar. So you got like two conflicting beliefs or experiences that are rubbing against each other. Does that make sense? And then you have that spiritual part of you that's like going, well, I don't want any of this. So to help you heal the one where you feel the arrogance of people and that your body's saying, I can't do this again. This had to do with the thyroid. It's like, oh, I can't do this again. There's something there. So I would want you to do R2D. I can't do this again. But listen to how the body says, as soon as they're around people, it's like, I can't do it again. I can't be around that frequency. Okay. Is there any more on that particular? It is to remind you that you're little or that you're deficient or that they have this power. So there is this making you feel, ugh, you know, so, and that's the position you have to really wake up. Because if you really say, here's your aunt, and here you are, you felt deficient. You couldn't talk to her. She made sure that you couldn't behave a certain way. She made sure that, but it's the believing in that you are deficient, that you can't change it, but you are in a position where you can. But it's in that awakening that you're like, which means you'll need to do R1D because you can't behave the way you want because this I can't behave the way I want is saying that there's something outside of you that's telling you can't behave the way you want. So there's two perspectives sliding it right there. And they said L3D because you've had so many relationships where you're the object. And it's easy to treat other people as objects, even though that's not you. But when they start spouting off their negativity, creating nocebo effects, your boundary, and it's like, I don't know. Are you comfortable of just ignoring people? Questions are my 3 kids acting out my 3 emotional programs. Ooh. Yes, yes. Because you're seeing a deficiency in each one where you have to have a hierarchy, from what I can see. That last question before I looked at your question is very important, and I can't remember how to continue that. So maybe, how do you know you're deficient? Can you feel the limitation? It's comfortable, it's familiar, it's what you know, and that there's always going to be some type of enemy. But the thing is that do you need to keep attracting them in? No, you don't. So there is this particular lie that like I can't, or I'm limited, and it's all about you value Do you value them? Do you value their love? Do you value their appreciation? Do you value that you have that they hold a certain status? Do you value them? So you need to ask yourself, you're going in and working with these types of people. Why is it important to see these people? Why is it important to me? Is it supposed to be a reminder of your youth and things that you loved? Is it a certain age that you didn't want to grow out of, so you need to see them? So why is it important to you? Why do you value? And when you hear the word value, like, well, I don't value them, or I don't value that. But why is it important for you as a soul to see this behavior, this temperament, this how you know this? And it's like, why is it important? And when you start to understand why is it important, it is because you then begin to see, I put in these self-imposed limitations. When they behave this way, I put in this self-imposed, and I don't allow. So if somebody's yelling at me and they don't like my stuff around, or it drives them crazy, then my self-imposed limitation is that I go through a particular freeze mode and then a fawn mode. And the next thing I know, I'm angry and I go into self-imposed limitation and I start to remove myself from people's lives because they're right, I'm wrong, right? Or it's irritating them and I'm not an irritation. And they're throwing their hate about it in their intolerance tube. And so, fine. And I'll pull it away. Okay, yes, I feel the overwhelm of what I want. And so that means I'm lacking something. And the thing is that you're told that you're lack something. Maybe, do you really lack something? They said no. But it's the belief in the with the overwhelm is from the overwhelm, yes. So your vibration drops, your frequency drops. Remember, you're learning how to hold a higher frequency. You have to keep going in and out. So you want it. Now, here's the thing. You're telling, this is how you make God laugh. You tell him your story, what you want. You tell him, this is how it's going to go. So in manifesting, I want this, I want this, I want this. But you're seeing that it's not here, it's not here, not here. It's like you have to take the blinders off. So I want, I don't see it, I don't see it, I don't see it. But if you take the blinders off, what I want, oh, that's actually what I want. I thought I wanted that. Oh, taking the blinders off in expectancy allows you to line up what you want. Now, if you want it and you got these off and that you still making somebody come in to say, no, you can't have it, or argue about what you want, then that is how you were told to be discouraged. And you believe it. And that's R1S. 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 Okay? But you can address and you can heal and you can change it. Gen O. Gen O. Is that to come on? Is that to come on? Hi, Jenny. How are you? Taxes due. Okay. Oh, 100 people died. Okay, yes. I'm going to hold space that, yes. I give you a minute. I'm holding space. Everything is whole. Everything is going to be, yes, everything's going to return to back. Hey, yes, yes, love. Yes, yes, it's a, we'll pray for harmony. Okay, now. No, just chat. Okay, just want to make sure. April says, thank you. Point on again. You've got this. It's just waking up those programs and breaking them down. Now, gets very tough for people because, like, well, I've healed certain things, yeah, but when you start seeing these other little details with emotions, it is this framework, the mental framework. It becomes your prison. When you start putting self-imposed limitations, you will feel where the edge is, and you can never cross it because you're saying, to survive, I got to put these in. I got to think this way. I got to act this way. It kind of goes along with what we did in tribal. Okay. All righty. Now, anything specific, Miss Jennifer O? Just looking. And you're telling me I need to plug this one in or it's going to like croak. So let me see if I can get this plugged in. Let me shake you up a bit. Don't mean to, but there we go. All right. No, okay. I updated this and it just didn't work. See, now look, I get this. So, and it's only because I'm trying to run it. All right, so if I back out again on this phone, go and see if I can see if there's another update that needs another update on top of the update. See how this works. Uh, Geno. Oh, okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at it. Okay. We're going to look at it this way, okay? Right now, the story that your body's going through, we're going to your stomach, and there's a procrastination going on. So do you feel like you're procrastinating? Then there's a compulsion. That energy that's supposed to be in the lung is in the stomach, and it's saying you have to be stifled. And then if I go there, it says I'm supposed to know my territory, stay in your lane. But if I'm so stifling, are you putting self-imposed limitations on yourself? Because did you hear what it said? It said that you are supposed to be stifling yourself. You trained yourself at a very young age to stifle yourself. And if I said, tell me more about the stomach thing, I believe I'm irrelevant. And then if I speak up and then they're acting like this, then, oops, hold on. Then I watch them, see them, feel them, because you have that invading energy. I better shut up and make myself irrelevant. Can you see yourself doing what I just explained? If you didn't get it, I will do it again. But in order to get your upgrade, you got to see that you're capped. Okay. So the stomach then goes, because just by saying that, you went into, instead of stifling myself, I'm supposed to stifle myself because that's what's expected. Oh, Jennifer, so it's like their invading energies come at you and say, stifle yourself. Be a good girl. And then you're like, I want to fight. I want to do this. And then you're fine. I will make myself irrelevant. Okay. So it's like self-imposed irrelevancy. And then it's again, believing further to the point that the anxiety that it's all going to unravel. The anxiety from what I can see is feeling so overpowered by the outside because they don't like what you're doing, who you are. Then it goes up to your heart. And then you can't be confident. And so you'll go into it, can't be confident because I'm going to get hurt. When you do that, then you go into how your triple woman goes, okay, I'm going to shut up, but I'm going to silently brew, but I'm going to figure out how to get what I want. So you go into this manipulation thinking in your head because this is what they effing do to you. And then what happens is it sits in your kidneys as a weakness because your manifestation, because you can probably talk to others, manipulate them, but when it comes to certain people, you just can't do it. So then it becomes a weakness, and then you go into your shell, and it is pain. Does any of that make sense? because now you have to wait for your spanking. Wait till your dad gets home. Wait till your father gets home. Remember that TV show? Remember that phrase all the time? It was that you were supposed to, you were judged, you were told it was wrong, and now you're waiting for your punishment. Now, even though you're an adult, you probably still have it in the relationships, either by the government or the hospitals or the waiting for authority to tell you that they got to take away all of your hope. You're in a pending doom state because there's a part of you that says, if I get my hopes up, they're just going to get crushed. Okay, going back to the heart. And that, they've already said no once before. Ugh. Okay, so I'm just checking to see if you understood any of that. Anyway, but this is all has to be unraveled. Each step says, stop doing that, stop doing that. Your soul is saying, okay, can you heal what now? The anxiety, feeling overpowered, because you don't want the answer to be no. Okay, you don't want the answer no. And so if I said, is that what you want her to address? And they said, yes, because it's affecting her frequency to rise. They said, if you started with R1D, and I want you to make sure you go back and listen to what I asked or what I said, and then do R1D. That's part of your responsibility. And it is this feeling that you have to scramble to okay, so the first one, no, besides overwhelmed, I don't know, I don't want to hear the word no, so R1D. Then the word coercing, I said from you, yourself, to yourself, from outside to you. Yes, from outside to you, because it changes your frequency and you feel deficient. So this is a two emotion type thing. The energy of this authority and how it coerces you. What they say and pushes, bang! It's the one right now there. Unable to go live disconnected. Wow, I just put in this is bizarre. So it said it disconnected, even though I put the puzzle piece in it, it said it was correct, it's still disconnected. Well, I'm back now. Good night. This two-powder, because it's screaming, I can't, but it's the coercing and the deficiency. You are so used to this particular part of your the way you do it. There has to be this coercing in life and be deficient. And so you have to see this to play out. You won't recognize yourself unless somebody comes along and does this to you. Now, you have to begin to wake up and notice who's standing before you, how they say in the words, how are they like coercing, and could be like duress. It can get very heavy. It can get they won't stop. They're giving you about 50,000 different ways until you say yes. And you have to accept that you have to stifle. You have to say, no, you fine, change who you are. You feel deficient. But this relationship is where you have to begin to discover, because what happens is this is where you put the self-imposed rules on yourself. And you put these limitations, and your energy does not support you. It goes against you. So to take care of this cohesion / deficiency is L2D, because it is how they love you. but they're coercing you to do the right thing or the morale thing, do it their way, or, because I feel like you clash with other people's belief systems. And how do you explain it? As soon as you clash and as soon as they push, you put up these limitations. Your whole body feels restricted. I said, so what do you want to do right now? They said, can you measure where you're at? They said, if you can measure anything, because you're like, okay, well, I don't feel my symptoms. I don't let it bother me. I've stored it, da 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 da. But the point is that you are meant to start taking care of that deficiency. I can't get what I want. There's a deficiency. I can't heal myself. I can't. There's a strong belief. And the strong belief is that it's defining as deficient. So I want you is to do both sides. Use your magnet on your spleen, and that is inside foot, follow the big toe. There's the bunion, and then you use your magnet and then rub, and then you go to you're governing in your central. They're open, so you're constantly vulnerable and you're constantly being governed by other people. You are going to have to learn to train to shut this, even if it's just as simple as that, or touch down there and come up and around. But you are going to have to maybe belly button and forehead lift up, and do this. You may have to rub both here and here so that it stimulates it doesn't actually have a point, but in back there, it's where they meet. So you can do them separately. It's the divot and then right there in that crick of the nose. But you need to stimulate this often, because not only is it gone in, but it's gone. You can hold your own, but your body is saying, yeah, but we can't live this way. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Now, if there's anybody here that has, if there's anybody here that wants a free reading that's never been read before, just ask. Just ask. Okay. So I'm going to take a moment and we're just going to look. This is just so bizarre how So have you asked the question? Both, left and right, both. Use magnet, both. Start with your left first. So if I follow the instructions slowly, it gives me an arrow, and then it shuts off again. It has battery, so it's not that. I got a program that's locked. It should not have that much ability to lock up my system. Anybody learning from me? Do you want me to continue to keep doing these shows? I'm just curious. I know that doing tribal is important. We're going to have that tomorrow. Okay, so I don't even know if anybody's here. Let me know if you're here. Let me know if you're here. Ah, Miss Spicer. Thank you. Did you have a good trip? I know you were on a trip. And did you get to do all the things you wanted to do? Because they can be fun. So my husband and I, we want to travel just 8 hours away, but we want to go see Harry Potter. There's an exhibit. Oh, hello. There you are. Thank you. And I'm just kind of excited just to go do something different. And I've always loved Harry Potter. Read the books, watched the movies, read the books, watched the movies. It's good to have the audio on just to do this. Now, even fantasies and things like that. Wow, I think you mean 7,000 miles in 2 weeks. That's a lot of Ks. Yeah, that's like what we would do, but we're not gonna do a really big one. We're not gonna do a really big one. But just have to have fun. And they have another one where you can you put virtual reality headset on and get onto the Titanic, and you get to experience some things about the Titanic and before and then after it sank, I think. I don't think they take you on the journey of sinking. I hope not. But that would be fascinating. What questions? You got Dandelion Light, you got Autumn, Jen, whoever else is here, Rob and Amy and Jennifer. Do you have questions about life? Because I could bring Amy on, but I'm just going to end it soon, and I don't really want to end it right away. So I could do old school, I suppose. And I often wonder, because you get a card, people want a card about their life, their questions, their real deep questions in life, and it's like, or the things that are bothering them. And the funny part is that they want a card to help them connect. And then if I give the reading, then it's like, oh, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to have to feel anything. It's not my fault. So I'm like, so why I got nobody on my show? Because they're not at that stage yet. I don't know. Sometimes you do want just a yes and no, but taking care of the emotion makes it so much better, so that you can get the wisdom that you're looking for, that you're asking me for. It's better to get it from yourself. Well, they don't understand that level yet. So one reader says they don't want to own their stuff. Because when you're first waking up, you don't know you're supposed to be accountable. And the stuff you're being accountable for, you're doing really well. But there are so many different stages that is, again, they don't know how to ask a better question. They don't know how to get emotions away. It's also the holiday weekend. That is true. That is true. Celebrating the 4th. Is it true that I saw they started now to celebrate the 250th, which will be in a year? Is that the case? I think that's what I saw. So how would you answer those questions? You remember the questions I asked? How'd you get here? How'd you get here? I'm just curious. How did you get here? How did you get here? Years ago, I would have said what others said, divine intervention, until I started to understand more. And your dragon brought me. Yes. Okay. So notice that when you answer that question, is it spirit and matter? Is it because to understand the flow of unity, it is coming to where it's not all about spirit, and it's not the separation of church and of science. And seeing I'm bridging religion and science. You come to I choose to come to evolve my soul. Can you remember what your old statement would have been? For me, it was, for me, it would be divine intervention. And God brought me here. And it still can be divine intervention, but it becomes the second question. And that second question is very important because it has everything to do with why are we here? Why are not I here, but why are we here? You know? And for me, it is many different things, but here's you take and but that sounds like even though you say on yeah, you would have thought, oh, I'm here because I'm an oops baby. So notice that no soul was really involved. And notice that statement, I'm an oops baby, because you would have just been a tenderling asking, well, how'd I get here? You would have only looked within the the birth family or where you're at. How did I get here? And once you get into more of a spiritual space, you realize that you took the spirit tunnel. You took the spiritual tunnel, the wormhole to get here, and that is through the woman's womb. I mean, she's a spiritual portal. And that's a good thing. um, it's always a good thing. I always believed I was here to gain wisdom. Excellent, excellent, wonderful. Amy says, to help raise the vibration of the planet and gain wisdom. Very good. And see, before it was, why are we here? And I never really thought of that question, except for the fact is that if you look at the collective at this point, let's ask the collective, look at the collective. The collective, it is like torn between monotheism and scientific materialism. Okay. It is divine intervention to live and play out morality and the laws of the Bible. And then on the other hand, you have random mutation and accident, no reason, and the laws of the jungle. And listening to my higher self. Okay, good. And but it is these battle, and you have to learn to be this third option to create a new world, and that's part of why I'm here to do the show and to teach that those that are on this level of thinking or want to wake it up in this way, it is why do you have to fight? So I would say, yeah, spirit brought me here. I took the spiritual portal. I'm here. Who's here? My soul is here. So and why am I, and we have, when we hear, it is this harmony. It's this harmony. So you're here to have harmony and make the best of it, is be in harmony. And so how do you do that? Now, do you have to do it the old way, the old programs that to be in harmony, you're supposed to compromise? See, that's the other one, because see, in 3D, you had compromise, and then you're supposed to have conflict. And then with conflict comes, what are the other ones I say? Let's see if anybody remembers what I said. Comparison and competition. Now, there's nothing wrong with certain sport competition. You take amazing athletes in Olympics, and they don't have to be snippy, snipey, and childish. They can look over and go, "Oh, how did you do that? I want to do that." And they can marvel, and they can make it a beautiful competition. Okay. But competition with the answering the question, it's the law of the jungle. It is always meant to be fight. It's always meant to be war. It is always meant to, you got what I want, you're my enemy. It is this, having this to answer the question, how do you make the best of it? You're supposed to compete all the time. There's a gift here. And the other side of this perspective is that you come in wonderfully perfect. You can do no exercise and your body will age and fall apart. You take and you do exercise, you will not just come in perfect, you will come in and you will maze yourself because you have built something stronger than when you came in with on a physical form. And you can see how this physical body can go in leaps and bounds and push the limits. And it's part of awakening up. Like, we went for this long walk and ended up being like 8K. And I've done 12K. I've done up to 23K. And those ones I don't really care to do. On flat road, not a big issue. But when it's hills, oh. So a few weeks back, I thought we went for this long walk. And coming back, I was having so much trouble walking, and I just was like, shoot me now, cancel or delete, but I'm like, I just wanted to fall on the ground, but it was wet, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to get wet. So I forced myself to stand up. And I'm sure my husband could have ran home, got the car, and came back, but I also said, don't do that. Because I want to see what I'm made of. Yeah, that's true. That's exactly it. The laws of the jungle is a dog eat dog world. And if you don't get out there, somebody's going to take it. The early bird gets the worm. And, but the early bird also can have lunch, dinner, and find other ways of doing it. It's not a bad thing. So it's in the philosophy of our thinking. So competition can be good, but if you sit there and you tease and you create this comparison and you create this compromise and you create this conflict, you are designed to always stay limited. And we are here to create a new world. So competition is not always a bad thing. You compare yourself to who you were yesterday. So again, on this walk, I'm like, my experience, and I'm like, why am I having so much trouble doing this? This should be easy by now. And we remembered that earlier that day, I had been down on my knees because we have a greenhouse, and I had to reinforce it with piping and make it stronger because the winds were picking up. And so I'm on my knees, I'm bending forward, I'm leaning. I had worked my girdle so much, and then I cleaned out the bird cage, and the stretching and holding yourself up, I created a lot of use on my girdle, my sides. And so that was what hit me. Oh my gosh, that's why. Okay, so that's a conclusion. It may not have been why, but that was a why. Well, I had put that in the back of my mind. And then my husband says, hey, honey, let's go for a walk. Let's go get some dinner. Let's get some exercise in. I said, okay. So we chose a different direction. So it's always fun to see new to territory. And we decide we're going to go to this one restaurant, and easy peasy, 3.5K, no problem. There, sit down. Oh my God, it was the worst food we ever had. We were started off fine, and then both of us were starting to, because they used, I think it was at the end of the week, and the seed oils of deep frying. And I usually don't have deep fry, but I wanted some fish. And I don't know if they just were trying to rush or what it was. So then I just left my food there. They gave me a thing to take home. I just couldn't stomach eating anymore. I left it there. I can't handle sugar anymore either. I don't have sugar in my life except for like stevia or something like that, or monk fruit. But I just left it there. We're trying to walk home, and I'm realizing it's like, wow, I feel good. And then all of a sudden I was feeling really bad. And I said, well, why would I feel good if I'm feeling bad? Spirit goes, because your body's like, I can do this 7K, no big deal. This is easy peasy lemon squeezy, uphill, downhill, and do it. Yes. And my body goes, brr. I'm like, yeah. And the food didn't set right because I have no gallbladder. And my body's going, what did you do? What did you put in me? And I'm like, oh my God, I should have just said no. But my body is getting stronger. So I focused on that my body is stronger and it's healthier and it's all of these things. And when you start to ask these questions, it doesn't mean you have to be in crisis. Heal that emotion out. Let yourself, and I love teaching people how to get into, they do it themselves. When they do it themselves, they're like, holy crap. And your brain starts finding the pathway to do it itself. And you start to choose. So yes, becoming a spiritual human, learning that harmony. And I knew this way before. And I love when spirit will tell me, and then it brings up people that have been around. So again, not everybody, just because you realize something, not everybody realizes what you realize. And so everything is done in waves. So certain groups will wake up and certain groups will go to sleep. Some will wake up. And so you have constantly this tsunami type thing. Sometimes it comes in very fast, which we had some very fast energy that's come in this weekend. And then it leveled out. When I looked up why my shoulders that way in the moment. So when you look up why the metaphysical meaning of your body is, you can actually sit there and you're like, oh my God, it resonates. Well, then yeah, you can got something of understanding why. And you can measure it and do the healing. I got the hiccups all of a sudden. I'm not sure why I get the hiccups all of a sudden. And this is where I like to also teach people. So it's like, because I'm in that seventh plane and I'm in this energy field, I'm not having my emotions, but I'm just saying what meridians are causing this. I don't even have to ask. I just point and my spirit will go, oh, this is a habit, the habit of lofty energy that's in my space. So somebody has been swiping through or stopped or whatever, and they carry a certain signature, and my body is now responding to this. And if I said, well, what meridian? They said my lung, because I'm supposed to put the limitations on. Like, for instance, this is how I would start if you go back in 2019, I would have a conversation with you and then we would do readings. Okay, yes. So in the beginning, I have spirit time, spirit speaks, and then we do the paid readings and things like this. But at the same time, I would actually have a communication. And, I could be on just doing that and then waiting for people to pop in and out. But at the same time, it's like, okay, in my meridians, what is my soul projecting out so people don't appear? And it is that my body is in decomp mode because it feels timid. And I said, what age? 4 years old. So you're saying my shyness, yes, is causing this energy so that one, I can feel deficient. Two, I feel comfortable. Now, how about that? If less people, I feel okay. More people, my child part of me would be shy. So it's like, okay, what would you suggest to heal? And they said, well, be aware that you said my body is in decomp, which is not a good thing. So it says, I was conditioned that I'm supposed to take a certain action and it takes my magnetic field off. So I said, is my magnetic field off? And they said, yes. Now, I would normally pick up that phone, but I can't. So I'm going to turn this one on, and if I can get enough of charge. Now, when you're muscle testing and things like this, magnetic fields, you want them balanced. And we can blame anything and all things, but it comes down to the programs to which we believe that we are accepting, believing, giving our willpower to, that changes the magnetic field in our body. Being that said, this is electric, and I'm checking my magnetic field. So I'm holding intention. Now, because I'm connected to the seventh plane and all of this, then there'll be a part of me that, well, first of all, do I have a tester arm? So I'm going to take out. Now, if I put it like this, it's checking my lung. How's my lung? Not so good. Okay, not so good. So I can even strengthen my lung, which is like this point here. And I just go like this to my thumb, this to my thumb. And I can do that 3 times to strengthen my lung. I'm going to do both sides because I know that both sides are down. Now, just doing that, moving energy without being attuned, 1, 2, 3, 4, I'm going to get that going until it's 10. So I can raise this up and I go in the same direction, lift off. And you don't go backwards. So you can do both at once, right? Not quite at once, but you finish it off. And then I'm going to test, and it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, well, if I go out here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So my lungs improve. So you want to test your arm. You can check your polarity, both poles. Mine are doing all right. And then I'm going to, hey, check that out. It actually popped up instead of doing that funky wonky thing. And I have an electrical device in my hand, and it's going to interfere if I have problems holding my magnetic field. If I have already got problems holding my magnetic field, then we'll see. Okay, so I can go like this. And it's not, oh, there we go. So 1, I'm good, but then when I try to do 2, I start to lose power. And a lot of people just assume, well, if it's strong, it stays strong. But I'm counting. I'm checking to see how strong is my magnetic field. And my magnetic field is not strong. So then I can say, okay, my magnetic field is down, and it says yes. And I'll say, okay, can you give me any information? And they said, it's because I'm conditioned. So I have a program. How many programs? 2. Is it more than the programs? Yes, it's a frequency. So how many frequencies? 1. So the frequency is my frequency E, and it has everything to do with how my body doesn't want to go through something again. So that means I've experienced something over and over and over and over and over and over, like coercing somebody, always having a mental shit show. I just can't handle anymore, or I got to constantly take care of somebody that I can't take care of myself. Right now, my pendulum's going, yes, 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 yes. See, and I can feel the resignation in this. I said, so on that scale from 0 to 10, that's a 4. And is it on a bigger one? They said, no. And so they said, the spleen says, I can't do it again. So I said, anything specific? And they said, this ho-hum. Now, ho-hum is a disconnection from spirit, and so you feel bored. Okay, is it that's what you're referring to? And they said yes. And I says, do I do that often? No, it's when other people do it. No, it is an old program, and it's a broadcast of the people that are walking around that are not connected. And it's like, then all of a sudden I feel like I have to. Is it a have to? It used to be. So no, I don't have to now. But towards myself, when they're in that space, towards myself, then all of a sudden my peace is gone. So I recognize that when they're not connected to spirit, my peace is gone. And I says, what else? Is there anything else? And they said, yes. They said, that resignation makes you feel deficient. And immediately I lose power when I go, oh. I said, so can I heal this? And they said, well, it's part of you believing you're deficient. I said, well, I don't want to do that anymore. And they go, good. Then you have to take and do repulse and compatibility. And the repulse and compatibility is really important. So that means for my magnetic field. Okay. So 2 magnets come together. They have they haven't lost their power. They're both magnetically, and they're like, yeah, baby. You turn them around, okay. That's normal. That's the way it's supposed to go. But if 2, all of a sudden, 1 becomes weak, and this one's coming up to go, hey, and all of a sudden it moves away, you can't, that's magnetic deficiency. It hasn't has its full charge anymore, magnetic charge anymore. So it will cause you not to be able to manifest in. Okay. And if I say is to manifest in, because emotions are electric, do I need to change some of my emotions, or do I need to increase an emotion? And they said, my magnetic field is that I have created a repulse, meaning I don't want to be connected to the thing I'm supposed to be connected to. And that's my 4-year-old belief. And it is, I just can't. I can't. And if I ask why, it's because there are too many egoic people. And this egoic people have everything to do with constantly taking defense, or social interactions are tough. So you'll get trolls, or you'll get so you'll just get bad things occur, and it'll look like bad luck. But the thing is that in me, I don't have it in me anymore. Then I'm believing in that point. And so then it's going to reflect out here. Okay. So if I said, okay, to do a repulse and compatibility, is there anything particular you might write on a piece of paper? They said, no, it's just my reaction. So I can even just think reaction. I can choose the belly button or the thymus. And I can get into that feel. And literally I can measure it. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It's a bunch. It's like, yeah, I love this person, but I just don't want to do this again. Or, I just, can only take a person with a grain of salt. And I can recognize all this. Now I could do, if any of you, if you wanted to start doing it, you could do R2S, but it may not change the startling, so you'll do that. But it may not change. And so the magnetic field, it may change just the emotions, but again, emotions are magnetic. And if I just have degaussed, I don't want degaussed, that's not what I want. My magnetic field, I've weakened it to attract in what I heart's desire, but yet my experience says, yo. I have to then, okay, so I know that it's like, okay, I can't do this. All right. So I breathe in and I'm doing 1 round to the back of my neck. And then I hold my breath and so it goes 2 rounds, right? So you can do 2 rounds, 1, 2, 1, 2. So I go. Now, if I wanted to, I could do 1 more right here. And then I can breathe out. And then hold my breath. Being mindful. Then it goes. Now, here is, without going into a lot of detail, it is just this separation. It's this separation and connecting. Okay, so you're kind of like, let's change it. Now normal. Normally you don't take a and talk in between, or take a breather or a break. Just in and out, normal. And I'll see, I feel the shift. My body does this really funky thing. TikTok does not want to work on this phone. Even though I updated it, it's now frozen. I can't get out of it. It locks my whole machine. See, I should be able to touch any of these 3 and to get to a different screen. It won't let me. So TikTok will not work on this phone. Ever since I did the update this morning, I should have done the update. So now it's frozen. So some programs you just don't match with anymore. Because if this phone stopped updating and you have TikTok that's updating, they're not going to be able to communicate. So your phone did that at the day. So I may have to wait for another patch to come through. So I'm just, going to shut it off. See, it gives me the lines, but it won't go any further. And that means that if I open this up, it's going to be opening up into that program. Now, if I can do this enough times. That's no big deal. But I do need to have it on so I can measure. So it's wonky. It still has electrical things. I still can check with me. Now, how would I check? Again, trying to get this to be electrical. Wait for it. Where I couldn't do anything, I had to do a hard reset. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do right now. It's trying. Now it's saying, now see, it was on. It's already on. It just can't, it has no screen. Okay, so it's on. That's what I want. It's on. So I'm going to take this electrical. My intention is to see how magnetic I am. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I got to do another round. And I can just hold the word magnetic. A yawn in between is actually pretty good. Oh, there's the twitch. And another one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nice and strong. So my magnetic flow is that my ability to listen to Mother Earth is better. My ability to break through all the EMFs, energies that are unhealthy. I don't have to have it bother me. You can become more stable with Mother Earth as you're doing things. So we were taught what's important is that Spirit said that you have all the answers right here. You don't need to go out and have this, this, and this. Now, if you can't do this, then there is outside this, this, and this, and this. But the answers are here. You are made of energy. You're made of frequencies. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay. I feel better. Right now, my body is readjusting. I can feel that. La, 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 la. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to go get Amy. And there she is. Link that up there. People that aren't like-minded, that want just challenge you. Yeah. And you know, and the thing is that again, it's not the enemy. It is not they want to challenge you. It's because your soul says, I need something in my scalar field to show me what I know, where I've lost power. And we got clues. It's a way you can learn how to talk to your soul in such a way that you can allow yourself to hear it and understand it. So you're building the bridge, you're building the language, and you have a better understanding. Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Been an interesting day so far.
It's been an interesting 3 or 4 days.
For you, huh?
It's the yeah, just everything, the energy coming in, um the recalibration. I've had dreams where I can remember like little bits and pieces, and I'm like, what the hell does shaving your legs have to do with anything?
Right. The dreams have been heavy duty. I woke up going, macaroni, macaroni. I can't find the macaroni. I went to the store. Oh, forgot macaroni. It's about comfort. I couldn't find my comfort. And it was like whatever particular story. Um, but yeah, there is meaning, metaphysical meanings. So
Mhm.
how are you? Spirit was going
I'm
to ask you these questions, and I said no.
I'm good. I'm I've been integrating this energy that's been coming in. Spent the fourth. I never left the yard. I went outside, but I never left
Did
my
you feel
property.
any type of helplessness?
I think I did.
So how would you explain that?
For me, it was kind of like I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go anywhere. It kind of almost melancholy is the way that I would describe it.
Yes. Yes. And so what what I'm just obsessed with this all of a sudden. I'm like, what's going on? It's still not listening to me. What I'm watching, what I'm seeing, and you paid to come on, so I'm gonna hit this. And so, like for instance, you had a session with me, and then you had distractions. You had a session with me, and there was one thing that they left undone, and I thought I remembered afterwards. And I said, "Oh, did I forget?" And Spirit goes, "No, you meant to experience something." Okay, we were meant to do what I just did with everybody, which was the repulse and compatibility.
Hmm.
This repulse and compatibility has to do with the ho-hum or the helplessness. Now, helplessness, and this is where I would like to teach another class, but helplessness, so define helplessness.
Helplessness is like you feel like you can't do anything. You try to do something and you get stopped at every direction
Okay.
you try to do it.
Give me your last example of when you had it.
Um, hmm. Going for a walk on the floor. It was like there was this I want to do it, but uh, I felt helpless to take that step.
Okay. Did you feel like deficiency?
Hmm.
Did you feel, and that's one of the things you're working on, and you're like, but I'm different. But did you ask why?
I didn't because I wasn't me.
Very good, very good. Now, if we go back to that particular time, what was your meridians doing? The lung meridian is that I'm supposed to overcompensate, and it's like, but I don't want to. And it's like, so overcompensation and is that you're going to have to appease people. Okay, you've done something, said something, and then you look and you think, oh, they're judging it. I know, so now I got to fix this, or I hurt somebody's feeling. That's not what I meant. Or it'll go into, what one you want? You will draw more ego people to you, and you're like, but I don't want them in my space. And does any of that make sense?
Hmm. Makes perfect sense.
So learned helplessness. Learned helplessness is somebody has put you in a predicament with using narcissistic ways, gaslighting, manipulation to make you feel helpless. But we believe that we are helpless. That is the conditioning.
Hmm.
And it's not that we want to do it, but we can't help it. So we have this like in some cases it is a behavior, but it's something that's repeated at you, and you sit there and you're fire and wire. You have been exposed, repeatedly exposure to uncontrollable negative situations. Developing a belief that they have no control over the circumstances, even when opportunity arises, and you see it, but you can't grab it. And so it's like freeze mode.
Hmm.
But it is knowing. So if I ask a little bit further, what details of this does it happen? And they said, I just don't really like the human experience of feeling attacked. And I said, getting about what? And you go, well, the outside. I had learned that the outside, and this is where I'm looking at your magnetic issue. Okay. So if I were to, okay, so it is on. You just can't tell. Oh, got something. All right. Well, we know it's working. So if I said that if I'm going to, Amy's paid, I'm not proxying her, but I'm picking up the frequency that's here. It's hard to explain. So I'm not in her field whatsoever. But Spirit is going to show me what Amy is doing. This is different than proxying. Okay. So I don't think that. So the intention is I'm checking Amy's thing. And she's absolutely got nothing. Now, if I say, well, I'm going to check mine, I'm fine. So now it wants to take a picture. Good on you. But there's no way to see it because we get a slow response. So then it'd be like, okay, if she's doing Repulse compatibility, which means what did you learn? What did you hear? The fact here's a strong magnet, and you're supposed to magnetize like attracts like.
Instead of doing this, it's doing that.
So now, because of that, they're saying it's because of what you call it. They're saying it's because of I believe, and I says, is it more than a belief? They go, it is I being deficient is important to me. I know that sounds strange, but you value being deficient. And I say, really? What are you getting out of it then?
AY, it does not, but I'm not sure what.
Okay, so let me go in. Ready? So every day you have to meet, greet, communicate with people. And social skills is what you got to do. And you feel all of this, how they're trying to get you to be helpless. And you're like, so that they can change your behavior. And you're like, I want nothing to do with it. And then you go on and on and on and on. Your body, because it's been through it so much, is like, no, I don't want to do it. But then you do it. And the body says, well, I believe you the first time. You said no. So you will create like this aversion where you'll start to get sick around people, or it's just something that is becomes an auto response. So there's two ways I can look at this. So I want you to think about, hey, I want to go out there, but no, I really don't want to go out there. But I want you to now get into the space. Oh, I'm going to do this. And then I want you to feel how your body goes, no, you don't. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I want to do this, but no, I don't. Then I want you to hold L2D. And I want you to measure how the desire, and you go to do it, and then the body says, no, you don't. And then you find yourself not doing it. Now, I'm going to explain a little bit further is that if she's around people, she will lose power, or she doesn't like that interaction, or in the beginning, it's like how people will change you. But you've gotten this relationship thing so down pat that you don't even need the person. You can just lose power. Because there's a part of you that don't want to do it, even though you force yourself so you can be accountable and you're an adult and you have to do this, you have to go to work, and you need to. But the body says, oh, I love them, but I just can't be around them. I can only take them with a grain of salt. And so then the body goes in there. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Now, as I'm talking and your body goes, are you taking away my defense mechanism? I'm not. I wanted you to begin to see the value. I don't value that. Yeah, you do. It's important to you because it gives you something.
I just heard safety net.
Yeah. It's a way out. It's because you have nothing left in your tank. You're burnt out. But the way you're holding this, the way you address it is you recognize that you lack power. They're going to put you in that situation to the point where you lack power. You don't need them. Now you know you got to go into that situation you anticipate, and all of a sudden you just go into lacking power. That's lacking power because they want you to lack power. And then you believe you have to lack power. You getting this? Measure that. That's one perspective there.
I heard 85.
Okay. But this one's joined with another perspective. And when I go to do it, because I'm excited because I've aged now, and I can do this. I'm a big girl, taking accountability. And then all of a sudden, this other perspective comes in, and it is, no, you don't. Oh, you have to go into how you memorize. Now, how do I explain this one? It's like, I'm all excited. I'm going to write my book. And all of a sudden, I get to a part that I have to look this up, go find the link, study it further, because I'm not going to give you something unless I don't, if I don't understand, I'm not going to talk about it. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, it feels like it's too much, or there's some type of thought there, and it's like, and all of a sudden, and I can feel myself started going into it. I can heal it even way after, because I'll be in the kitchen or I'll be doing something else. Or I've just had somebody come in to disturb me. And that's where you can also sit. Because these are different phases of your life stages to the point it can't be bothered. Because now you're going to go, well, this always happened. I'm going to go do this. And you're like, why bother? Can't be bothered. So now you go into a melancholy.
Mm-hmm.
But you now got three particular perspectives from different ages that are all sitting there that's telling you that you do not have the will to do this. You don't have the emotions or the power as a magnetic field to do this. And you will look at it and go, I just can't do it anymore. You hit that level of, hopefully somebody, okay, she says, oh, this resonates. Anybody else? So what's important is that those that are awakening, did you hear those three particular phases, stages that all can affect your magnetic field? See, now she just shifted. She's shifting. I can feel that inner shift. So if I said your magnetic Gauss, it should be a 10, was down to a 4. She just moved it to a 5. Well, that's slow. Now, this is a huge thing, though. This don't just think I can't do it. Well, then you got to add that in there too. But just bear with me. This is a huge thing, because if you accumulate how many years you've been on the planet,
Mm-hmm.
don't expect one shower to get the grime off that has no soap.
That ain't gonna work. Nope.
Because if you got a grime on you that's a grease or ground in, it may take more than one shower
Mm-hmm.
to get that clean. And if it's a radiation type thing, I'm not talking about this. I'm just saying invisible shit you can't see, and you can scrub to your little heart's content. But is it connected with fear? Is it connected with constantly being exposed? If you live in a household where this is happening, you're repoisoning yourself every time. So you heal it here, because even if you leave that environment because it's very toxic, you're going to still take the program with you and redo it. It could be worse than the first. So heal your stuff while you're with these relationships, and they may grow with you. But if they're not meant to grow with you, then it's important to understand, I want flowers. I want flowers. Well, you can't have flowers unless you have rain. You can't have flowers unless you have a storm. You can't have flowers because the rain has certain nutrients. The sun has certain nutrients. So sometimes if you want to remodel your kitchen, you have to take down the cupboards, clean up the mess, and start fresh. And if you want to move forward, you have to clean out these old belief systems, these old values, why is it important to me to hold the thing that's hurting me? If you keep asking, how is this serving me? You won't get it. But if you say, this is important to me because, and let's say you heal this out. Now I'm going to ask you, is it important for you to, I forgot, I didn't write it down. Good job, Brenda. To feel this, what are we healing? You tell me.
A form of deficiency.
Very
That
good.
the symptom of the melancholy, helplessness, learned helplessness. That's what it is.
Right. Because somebody made you believe in the helplessness. Because you, of course, when you're little, you can be manipulated. Because if you do not get your first uh, level of needs met, and look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, safety, security, right? So you want house, you want food, you want warmth, not too hot, you want warmth. You want to stay dry
Mm-hmm.
because you cry because your ass is wet, you know. You don't know, but you have simple basics when you're a baby. But part of it is also you want a quiet household. And when the person screams and the child cries, they get mad at the child, but it's your emotions that can affect the way the child shows up. It's the same thing with animals. They only understand energy language. Calm yourself,
Calm
you
the
set the
baby.
tone, and you calm the baby, and you can set the tone. But if you're frustrated and the baby and you're screaming, that baby is only going to reply to what you're doing. Not in all cases. My son had a pinched nerve and nobody could see it. And finally, oh my God, that was just so annoying because I know what a pinched nerve, and I'm thinking that poor child has gone through hell. Because I know what a pinched nerve is. When saw a Reiki person and instantly his little leg where it was pinched relaxed, and his hip actually was going down in place, and his leg, I didn't even know his one leg was shorter than the other because he's always crying with his legs up. For 6 months he was going through that, and they kept telling me it's because of my food I'm eating, it's the way my lifestyle is, and I'm like, what are you okay, so I changed everything about me several times over. And then after his leg was relaxed, that child was like, slept well, must have got all the crying out. Was an awesome child. So where are you on this deficiency? When you said that I just feel deficient, I feel meh, I said, how is it serving you? And you're like, I said, how it's important to you. So why is it important to you? So you don't have to do something. Why is that important to you? And I can do what I want. Why is that important to you? I'm reading your mind. I not reading your mind. It's just right flashing up on my screen. I'm not. Am I reading? Or did I get that correct? Or
Yeah, yeah.
but what
It's
the point? Yeah, go ahead.
it's like this. I wouldn't have to participate in their bullshit.
And why is that important to you?
So I can have sanity.
Why is that important for you?
Sanity is important because sanity will come, then love will eventually come in.
Yeah, so you have peace and you can feel this emotional aspect of you. So if I asked, so again, we used repulse and compatibility. You saw before we got on. I could have used it on her, but now I did it with Success Hope Therapy. She's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Question is, will she keep it or touch that habit button, that vending machine, and go back into it? That's up to her. That is up to her.
I gotta watch out for that damn button.
But you didn't see it, and you're meant to experience it again. And
Mm-hmm.
did you see like how it was the tree, the roots, and the branches? And so as we started to trim the branches, you get to see that it's not just the trunk of it, but it's then the roots.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't produce good fruit if the roots aren't healthy.
No, you can't.
So now you're magnetically, I don't know if she can physically, do you feel any difference? Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually? What do you think?
I I feel like me. And I haven't felt like me for probably a week.
Okay. And there's a lot of many reasons of the why, but at the same time, why did her soul need to project out the reasons? And it always goes with the why. Like, why? If you go and start tribal, I ask you why. What's your why?
To
And
learn,
her
to
to learn.
grow, to become the best spiritual human that I can become.
Exactly. So when you ask those three questions, where did you come from? Why are you here? And how would you make the best of it? Asking these questions often are going to help you build a new world
Mm-hmm.
because you're going to say, the answer I give, why is that important to me? Now, if it falls anywhere that is just separate from, then meeting in the middle, if it's all spirit and no matter, you're going to have to work on the physical aspect a lot more. But if it's all physical and no spirit, then you're going to have to find your way home. But finding the equilibrium or the balance, the unification, the integration, you will then have more peace.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when you're working with your energy field and it's all over the place and you bring it back to center and you know that you could hold yourself whole because it's an option, you can then hear the programs of why.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you did not see those three perspectives that sat there to make you feel and think and be that.
No, I couldn't
But
see
now
that.
that you're looking at it, does it make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Absolutely. It makes sense as to everything that took place on in my dreams on my walk today. Um, why I didn't go for a walk on Friday. And it's all of these pieces are falling into place.
And these people out there fall for this feeling. And again, it's like the movie. What's the name of that movie? Inside Out.
Mm-hmm.
That your emotions have the control panel. You have an experience. You have, how do you process? And if you don't know how to resolve to evolve to get the wisdom, you will then go into the emotions that describes words and you're going to fire and wire continuously until you've memorized it. And then you do the next thing where you stuff it, store it, suppress it, overcome it, and the root is there. And then you begin to grow and you start producing branches, but you don't produce a good fruit. Your inner world creates your outer world. Your roots depend on what your soul is going to project for you to see. And if you understand that the language of the soul is saying, oh, here's some crap stuff, and you look at it as a soul and go, oh my goodness, I am supposed to heal that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you can say, I can measure this by how you know this because it has a feel, maybe not necessarily an emotion, but it's there.
Mm-hmm. It has a feeling. It's
You
not so much emotions anymore, but the feeling for
Yes,
me.
and so then you can tap it out. Now, some people say, well, I can't feel it, but then how do you know it's there?
Mm-hmm. It's that.
Because I'm less than love.
Mm-hmm.
Then good. Or you told me so. Well, look how you know. Learn the communication.
Mm-hmm.
And if all you can do is just and you can't feel and you can't do that, then it becomes a safety blanket. So then you have to go to the back door and say, what are you willing to resolve? And
Mm-hmm.
it could be this small, but it can make a major difference.
Yep.
Now, your turnaround time wasn't fast because you've been collecting, experiencing, doing this, understanding this, possibly healing other stuff because you didn't just sit there and not heal, did you?
No, I healed.
Right, you've been doing because you were supposed to do these things
Mm-hmm.
to
Like I
heal.
woke up with one hell of a headache this morning, and I haven't done that in a long time.
Mm. I asked. Where it says scalar field, don't want to do relationships. very strong. And I said, okay. And then and so this one, not bad. This one was frozen. So your tantra pole was fine. So you weren't as vulnerable, but you were being governed, chances are, by the outside of old patterns. I woke up in my house, but it's my childhood, and then this is 4th of July, and I've had bad experiences and holidays, or I can feel the neighbors, or I can feel the collective, and I'm not adulting today, leave me alone. That's fine. You woke up in a program and you followed it.
I did a few points and got it down and got up and went and fell asleep in the chair.
But the interesting thing is people don't realize that when these two particular poles go off, they will physically start to usually feel sick, and then the lesson will appear and you can't handle it. But you can get it, you can begin to learn to heal things in a whisper. I said, so what was the main reason that you had to wake up with a headache? Because I feel bad. Why? Because I don't want to participate. So the repulse and compatibility was very strong. Why didn't you want to participate this fun days and the fourth? Because I was 7 years old and I felt deficient and I had to do things and I didn't want to do them. So you are being grumpy pants.
Oh my God. Oh my God. We would have Summer Olympics. We would have like little sporting events for the kids over here at the football field. And I hated doing it, but I had to, according to mom and dad.
Oh. So I said that little thing that she's recalled is that the issue. Yeah, because it means that I have to. So it's the scalar field. And even though she's not doing it to this age, her body's like going, oh, so you have an emotion attached to a memory. So if she wanted to heal that out, she could do R1B because she's supposed to have self-imposed limitations. Be a good girl. You can do this. Give it all, suppress your emotions. Force yourself into doing it. Blah, 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 blah. Put those prisons in and just get the crap done. Because like my son said, told my daughter, just do it and then she will stop. And that's when I realized, holy crap, I'm my mother. But yet, how do you parent a child that you know that they need to be learning how to clean the house, how to take care of themselves, how to do these things, and all they are is like, no, I just want to play my games. And it boils down to how the world, in this last almost 2 weeks, has been looking at the frequency of value. So you have monotheism versus scientific materialism versus the new awake cultural creators, which are us. And all three of these are like, what do you do? So the value. I was like, okay, I was in poverty. I'm not in poverty. I'm close to poverty, but I'm not in poverty of the poverty I know. So I have a parameter, right? I've had this experience. I've gone through all this. Now, I don't want my children to have to experience this, right? So I'm going to provide. I'm going to do this. But then there's a whole nother set of stuff. What? And then and I said to myself, well, how do they get the experience without having the experience? How do I give them the experience without them having to go into, feeling sorry, any of this stuff, blah, blah, blah. How do we do this? And in the world, or I should say in the States, in America, let's get rid of USAID. Let's get rid of FEMA. Let's get rid of the Weather Bureau. Now, if you look on the back of a package and it says, do not swallow, can be harmed, you're like, somebody must have swallowed it, sued, and then it got a label. So they've learned. So things are in place because it was, shoot, we have this experience. How do we fix it? Well, let's build this. Let's do that. They understood from the experience to create an answer. And so there was value. But the next generations, or the generations of or they never understood why, and they just see it as bad things. It's a waste. It's this, it's that. Then they take it away, and then the whole thing falls. That's not what should happen, but it did. Why? Because there was no understanding of the value, because they didn't ever look at the experience. They made experience, but they never looked at it in their world. Somebody else solved it. It's not going to happen to me, because in monotheism, I see how it's this. If I can't do it, you can't do it. And if I don't like it, you don't like it. And it has to be black and white, and it has to be this, and it has to be the laws of the Bible. And then yet I don't have to obey those laws because I do the laws of the jungle. So there's a lot of issues between these two fields.
Mm-hmm.
But the value of why you had it, it's like you don't get it until you take it away, and then you go, oh, that's why we need it. But it's not the same as, honey, why are you cutting the ends off the ham? I don't know. Mom did it. Hey, Mom, why do you cut the ends off your ham? I don't know. Mom did it. Hey, Mom, my pan is too small. Get a bigger pan. There's understanding because you have an experience.
Mm-hmm.
But so how do we pass on the wisdom? Because if we pass on the wisdom, they're like, you're micromanaging me. Let me learn on my own. Blah, 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 blah. Does it make sense?
It does. It makes a lot of sense.
So sometimes you're just going, there's no adulting today. Leave me alone. I'm going to get my fort.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. Because it's like I kept dreaming about macaroni, and I'm like, I went to the store, forgot
That's
macaroni.
why I had to have pasta.
Probably because it was pasta at the end. I'm like, pasta and macaroni can be two different things metaphysically. But it was like I couldn't find my comfort.
I
Or I didn't remember to get my comfort.
I made spaghetti, and I have this kind that I get that's it's like vegetarian noodles. But yesterday it was like, I want pasta.
I only wanted to let the sporty was my dream. Macaroni.
And so I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna follow this. And I went and got some groceries, and I got some angel hair pasta.
There you go.
First time I've had pasta in 3 years.
But it's good. And there's times like macaroni and cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Macaroni and cheese is not the same as macaroni and cheese anymore. And you can taste, I have not had a lot of processed foods, especially American processed foods. And we can have the pleasure of buying some American stuff. And it's just like, what? I mean, I'm excited to see how you're going to react when I don't want to share anything with you. I want to see how you like when you go to use the bathroom, when you go and let's say we stop at McDonald's. I'm just curious about all of these little things because I went and my first reactions to all of it, and it was just like, wow. It just so it is a growth process. But anyway,
Yeah, I'm like, all of these things are going to be so different.
but it's gonna be fun. But
Oh
yet,
yeah, absolutely.
and you're more ready to have change than you did before.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh
that's
yeah.
important. That's important. Now, we've had a good time, and it is the holidays. I completely forgot it still is the holidays. Um, but thank you for playing with me. Thank you for
You're
communicating,
welcome.
and thank you for honoring your healings and your information. And so I'm going to let you go now. We'll see you in Tribal tomorrow.
Alrighty.
We're probably going to talk about what we talked about today because I've noticed that's a pattern of the spirits. It's like, yeah, I can't get her to prep, so make her do it on her show and then have her do it in class.
But we go deeper in class. That's the thing.
Yeah, that you can. Robin said it's a great healing, and I love the fact that you are aware that you don't have to believe your own BS, that you don't have to keep that feel. But when you're in that feel, sometimes you can't shake it, but you are paying attention to that you had to have this experience, this experience, and this experience to change the value because you don't live there anymore.
No, I don't. And the one thing that saved me on Friday was just going out and hugging a tree barefoot.
Yeah, because it's you.
Mm-hmm.
It's you. All right. I almost hung up the show completely. Whoops, wrong button. All right. I love you. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Okay. And
Love you too.
don't believe your own BS.
Don't believe your own BS, which is
Wonderful.
belief
Thank you.
systems and bullshit.
All right. Bye, hun.
Bye.
Okay. Did we get anything out of that? And I think somebody has, because Robin says great healing. Anybody else notice? So, like when you've been like Autumn says, I've been dizzy all day. You know, one of the things, if my body is doing something, and it is to just start working on my body. And, you know, some of you are like, yeah, but I don't have the tools you have. But I immediately just start rubbing the points. If you know the points, if you know that you have the SP points, if you know that, then all you have to do is decide to communicate, build it up. This is your opportunity to create a relationship with your higher self and just say, where do I rub? I'm measuring this. I'm dizzy. Where do I rub? And if you feel like, you know, it's supposed to be this, this, and this, then do so. You feel you've been dizzy all day. The question is, are you concerned, or is this normal? Is this a checkout? Because I feel like it's more of a checkout than anything. And it is part of your conditioning process that this is, again, what 4th of July is meant to you. So I feel like you've had this before, Miss Autumn, if you're still here. Otherwise, I love you guys very much, and I will keep doing the show until whenever. But I love Tribal. We got a couple new members. I love it. And the interesting part is they're younger than 30. And that is such a beautiful sign from Spirit. It's beautiful because you get to, how do you want to call it? I can see that I've worked to the point that I don't have to feel that certain generations are not doing it. Certain generations are starting to do it. That means the cap that we had on our frequencies, where the younger couldn't do it, is now the younger are waking up. I did it at like 23, 24, but that was because I had raised my hand sooner. And now we're at a wave where that frequency says we can have people that are younger. And it's like, what? Oh, I love this. I love this. I love this. Vicki says my lymph nodes are swollen under the ear. And if I asked Spirit, I said, how would you help her? So first of all, for Vicki, I would say, Vicki, why is your body doing this? The meridian showing up is the stomach meridian, procrastination, to gun shy, to being around too many people that are hysterical in your ego. And I just want to check out. And I said, and you'd be around age 7. So the swollen, the glands, the lymph glands, is that, so if I said, if you wanted to help correct it, yeah, they said you did. There's a certain amount of SP feeling very deficient, and they're saying that you could use and start to get your spleen going. Now, there's a couple things that I would do. There's something on my website, called the 4 thumps. Okay. Now, the main one out of every single one is this one, spleen 21. And if you can get those rubbing, get them turned on, maybe use a magnet there and then turn them on. This is a really good switch so the body can start to support to help heal. Okay. Now here, is the collarbone. And then you have this, I can't do it, you can't see it because I've got some weight on me, but you have an indent right here in the clavicle right there. If you were to just don't push and rub, this is actually, and you just go across and you do this several times, because when you are doing lymphatic flush, whether you're doing it to yourself or you're getting it done, it dumps here before it goes to the heart. And we usually get clogged. Our lymphatics in our head usually get clogged. So turn on those spleens, go down to your spleen, left and right. It is follow the big toe to here. Use your magnet here as well. Rub it. So 2 spleens, this one in the foot, and then you slowly do this. Do it 10 times, do it several times a day. You can do the 4 thumps, which is getting the K27s, the thymus, the spleen, and the stomach. Okay, now I'm sure you got some that are running backwards. Let's just check here. You're more stuck here, but by doing the spleen, would that change this so it'd make it more improved? Yes. So notice what thoughts come up. If the body is saying that my lymphatics are swollen, I said, is it because you don't want to participate in something? Yeah, so if you ask, why is it important to me to have these lymphatics? And it's weird because you may I may not hear anything, but you may hear something. Now they're telling me that you're doing an archetype. I said the 2 or the 4? The 4. I said, you're doing the 4. And they go, yeah, I'm supposed to sabotage myself. I'm supposed to make myself less than, which is the prostitute. I'm supposed to be the victim and have that mindset. And this happens to me because it's part of that belief system that my body gets sick and it's getting old and it's dying. And I'm supposed to because I'm aging and da 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 da. So you have a really old belief system. And the child of many faces is that, I don't want to do something, or I want to be taken care of, and I feel like I'm not. So you got to really pay attention. So you're doing these, the 4 archetypes that it's serving you. So why is it serving? Oh, I don't want to do this. You got a lot. So if you start to pay attention, and if you wanted to, you could hold right wrist, first position, soft, Vicky, and sit there and feel this, measure it, and then if you pay attention, you may hear some thoughts. Write them down. This is your spiritual investigation time. You can do this. You can do this. So I don't know if Autumn had saw that last part, and of course I didn't look at the time. So I should probably miss out on some good stuff there. I don't know. R1D, you're at what? You were a 4, and then all of a sudden it shot right up to a 9. You believed you took it down, and then you were covering it up. There's something there. You just went through an experience. You may not be aware of it, but where you were focusing, you were at 4, and then all of a sudden it said, whoop, we got to show her. They said continue to hold that because it's like you now got to ask deficiency. I can't do that. Why is that important to me? Why is that important that I can't do that? Why is it important that I can't? Is it because I believe I can't, or is it because I don't or I won't? It changes. But again, the question when you're checking your values is it important to me? It's important to me. Why? Now, I also know that we are going through with these civilization type thinking, and very controversial, is the value system. And there's actually 8 particular value systems that the collective is doing and having to grow out of and get the experience to rise. And that's kind of where I'm at. Learning, bringing it in, studying it. You know, you think that, oh, yeah, she just has to look at it and she knows it. No, I got to do my homework because I'm not just going to give it to you. It took me 12 years to answer that question, what is reality and can we change it? And of course, the obvious from the ego is, of course you can. But that's not what I was doing. What is reality? Who's in charge of it? I could rewrite another one and add to what I've already got because there's so much more since I wrote the last one that it is like, holy moly. And that's where the healer's journey came from. And that's where it is, well, how do I make the best of it? Heal your shit. Bring yourself back to harmony. Bring yourself back to I'm a spirit in human form. You guys are great. I love you very much. Thank you for hanging out with me. And, you know, my heart goes out to you. I'm going to hold space for you guys to have a nice day or a nice night or good sleeps. I'll take those roses. I love them. And remember, hashtag resolve to evolve. Hashtag if you feel it, heal it. Okay. Or I should say, feel it, measure it, and heal it. Hashtag heal instead of deal. People think, well, no, I have. And it's like, you don't really understand the depths of healing. And that's where I come in. It's not a judgment. It is, let me show you something that you haven't seen before. I love you very much. You're already blessed and you're already whole. And I forgot to record. So stay blessed.